Hi guys, and welcome to Codecademy. My name is Kalina and I'm a developer from New York. Today we'll be going through the Consonants and Cities Freeform project, part of the Learn Java course. Now before we get started, let's take a look at some of the concepts we'll be working with today. To complete this project, you'll need to be familiar with basic Java syntax, variable declaration, and a switch statement. Now let's pull up our project and get started. Consonants and cities. Let's practice the Java switch statement that you learned about. In this project, we'll write a program that will print out a continent and the largest city in that continent based on the value of an integer. The instructions provided are general guidelines. Upon completion, feel free to add functionality of your own. Step 1. First, we want to create an integer variable called continent and set it equal to 4. So let's navigate to our main method and declare our variable. And let's not forget a semicolon to close out our Java statement. Let's check off step 1 and on to step 2. Next, let's create a switch statement that will switch based on the value of continent. Let's print the switch keyword along with a pair of parentheses inside of which our continent variable will go and where its value will be checked for. Let's mark off step 2 and on to step 3. Inside of the switch statement, add a case that will run when the value of continent is 1. Now, before we create our first case, let's recall that all of our cases will be enclosed in a code block. To create that code block, we'll need to use a pair of opening and closing curly braces. And now we can add our code. So case 1 is going to be the first one. And let's see what its value is in the next step. When the value of continent is 1, print out North America, Mexico City, Mexico. So let's use our built-in Java function to print North America, Mexico, City, Mexico. Now let's finish that with a semicolon. Check off step 4 and on to step 5. Make sure the next line exits out of the case. To do that, we need to add a break, also with a semicolon. Now on to step 6. Add another case that will run when the value of continent is 2. When this value is met, print out South America, Sao Paulo, Brazil. So still in our code block, let's generate a second case, which will print South America, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Semicolon. And we're done with step 6. Step 7, make sure the next line exits out of the case. Let's add our break. And we're ready for case 3. Add another case that will run when the value of continent is 3. When this value is met, print out Europe, Moscow, Russia. Make sure the next line exits out of the case. So we have case 3. And we will be printing Europe, Moscow, Russia. Semicolon, and a break. Next is step 9. Add another case that will run when the value of continent is 4. When this value is met, print out Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. Make sure the next line exits out of the case. So let's generate our fourth case. Which will print Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. Add our semicolon and the break. Awesome. Now on to step 10. Add another case that will run when the value of continent is 5. When this value is met, print out Asia, Shanghai, China. Make sure the next line exits out of the case. So we have case 5. And we want it to print Asia, Shanghai, China. Let's add our break and move on to step 11. Add another case that will run when the value of continent is 6. When this value is met, print out Australia, Sydney, Australia. Make sure the next line exits out of the case. Case 6, system, Australia, Sydney, Australia. And a break. And we're ready for case 7. Step 12. Add another case that will run when the value of continent is 7. When this value is met, print out Antarctica, McMurdo Station, US. Make sure the next line exits out of the case. Case 7. System.out println Antarctica, McMurdo Station, US. Semicolon and a break. Now let's check off step 12. Next we have 13. Finally, add the default case. The default case should print out undefined continent. Make sure the next line exits out of the case. So the default is very much similar to the else in an if statement. It does not require a condition to check for. It simply evaluates when none of the previous cases match the value of the expression. So let's add that. Default system.out println undefined continent. Now let's add our semicolon and the break. Let's check off step 13 and on to 14. I'm just going to get rid of some of this white space. If the program is written correctly, your output should be Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. Let's click this Save button and see what we get. Perfect. Africa, Lagos, Nigeria. Our output was just as expected. Great work. And 15. Add comments near the top of the program that describe what the program does. Let's navigate to the top of our program and add a comment such as a program that prints a continent and its largest city. Now your comment can of course be anything you like as long as it's descriptive of the program that you've created. Let's check off step 15, and with that we've completed our Consonants and Cities Java project. Now if you'd like some extra practice, let's go back to where we declared our continent variable and give it another value. I'm going to use 8. Now, because we don't have an 8th case, the default should be evaluated. Now let's save our program and test it out. Perfect, and that's exactly what was evaluated, undefined continent. Let's try another value. Let's do 7. Now we expect to see Antarctica, McMurdo Station, US. Save. And that's exactly what we see. Awesome. Now we've come to the end of our project. I hope this walkthrough was helpful. I'll see you next time, and happy coding.